Welcome to the lighter side of the dark side. It's your weekly freak show here on Renegade Radio. Also, Spotify, Deezer, Apple. We just got on Castbox, Radio.com, Radio Public. Tune in wherever you listen to us. It's the Dark Mark Show. I'm Dark Mark, the goth comedian. Thank you for listening. It's a special show.
It is a very special show.
Now I can barely hear you. What's going on there?
I'm back.
Oh, there you go. Okay, I'm flipping the camera around. You hate this.
I hate this part.
That's my co-host, everybody's favorite vegan heavy metal DJ, Hannah Bach.
Oh my God.
Very special show because a couple reasons. First off, we know what a Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street fan you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You've seen the Dream Warriors and Dream Master once or twice?
My favorites, yeah, more than once or twice.
Yeah, those are probably the best, and that's partly because of this guy right here. That's my new friend, which I met about a month ago, and I keep doing shows at his bar, and I love hanging out with this guy. Turned out to be a really cool guy. Rodney Eastman.
Hey, thank you so much, Mark. Same to you, buddy.
Right.
Yeah.
And also here, we've had AVN nominees.
Mm-hmm.
And you were a Saturn Award nominee. I don't want to discount
Am I
anything.
really?
You were for some movie. I'll look it up. It was a movie you did a long time ago, but we've had AVN Award nominees. We've had Grammy nominees.
Yeah.
We've never had an Academy Award nominee.
Until tonight.
Until tonight. There he is. He's hiding from the camera. That's John Hawkes, who I also met about a month ago. Heard these two sing in the Rodney and John band, and we're going to hear some songs tonight. Turned out to be a super nice guy, John, as you might expect by seeing his movies, except for maybe Mary May, where you play a cult leader.
It's easy for you to say. Martha May Marlin.
Which I haven't seen, but now I want to see it because that's like you're
Great
like
movie.
That's what I hear, and you're like you kind of got the Morgan Freeman vibe. You always play kind of, even if they're kind of rough around the edges, nice guys.
Well, I should clear something up about the Academy Award nomination. It turns out it's a clerical mix-up.
Oh no, it was not. I saw it.
Actually, yeah, it was in the news. It was buried.
It was a really yeah. So you actually wanted Christian Bale's guys to give it back, right?
No. The nomination itself. No. That was a great experience. Winter's Gone was a dream.
Right. And we're going to talk about that. Actually, thanks for mentioning that because I got to talk about our sponsors really quick. Audible. Audible is one of our sponsors. If you go to audibletrial.com/DMS, you get one book, any book you want, 2 Audible originals, and a 30-day trial to Audible. Winter's Bone, the book, is one of the audiobooks you can get.
That's fantastic.
Also, your co-star Miranda July has 2 books on Audible. Yeah, her short story collection, which I've read, is great. Apparently, she came out with a novel, so I might add that to my Audible collection. Also, you used to just get a book at a 30-day trial. Now you get 2 Audible originals.
It's amazing.
And the Audible originals are actually really cool. They have one with Kate McKinnon from Saturday Night Live. You guys like Kate McKinnon? I think she's great. I think she's the best performer they've had since Eddie Murphy. I think she's great. She has a whole fairy tale she wrote with her sister. They performed it. It's on Audible. That's an original. You can get that free and Winter's Bone or whatever you want. Or Alien 3. Not a great movie. But William Gibson, the cyberpunk writer, wrote a script that wasn't used. So they got Michael Biehn, Lance Henriksen, and the cast to act it out. That's an Audible original. You can get that free. So
Great writer.
yeah, so you're like, what happened there? That might have been the movie that you've been waiting for. You can listen to it in your car. Audible trial. I always mess it up. audibletrial.com/DMS.
Well,
And
having a great writer write a screenplay.
Right.
The problem with the screenplay was it was probably too good.
Right.
It was probably.
Well, Frank Darabont wrote Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Academy Award-winning writer.
Yeah.
Terrific, and you had like 0 lines. So,
Well.
am I wrong?
No, you are not wrong. But I had the most important line.
Yes,
in the movie.
Shattered Glass.
At the end, that's right.
Yeah.
And we're gonna play for you probably later tonight, and
You're gonna play Dream Warriors?
you will. No.
Doc?
No. But I'm gonna sing for you, and my voice can sometimes still shatter glass.
I've heard both of you saying.
Yeah.
I was listening to your old band on Spotify when I was driving down here. So
I have to say, I feel like a lot of times the parts of movies that I really remember aren't when people are talking. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
The images seared in my mind are often a character driving or
Sure.
waving,
Yeah.
or just sitting in a reflective moment. So yeah, I think words are overrated.
Well, you're
go home.
Or unzipping the dress of a fantastically sexy nurse.
Or the waterbed thing. We're going to talk about this. You've never seen Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4?
No,
Oh.
What a friend.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I haven't seen Casablanca and Humphrey Bogart.
Right.
God forgave me for that. So.
But I know for sure Rodney's saying me, you, and everyone we know because I put the colon and the whole thing, and he
Well,
knew.
he
He knew.
got his guitar.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
final
Back and forth forever.
final mile.
Back and forth forever. It's already gone crazy. Hannah, before we start actually talking, because everybody's talking already.
The show hasn't really begun.
Tell us about our other sponsor because they might want to know about them.
Doomie's Home Cooking. They have a Next Mex, the best voted #1 nachos in Los Angeles last year.
The only one without meat. They're all vegan.
They're all vegan. They also have another shop where you can get burgers and you can get a vegan Big Mac, a shrimp po' boy, which is one of Mark's favorites.
1253 Vine Street.
Yeah, and now they're having root beer floats for summer.
Wait, they have vegan root beer
They
floats.
do, yeah.
Yeah, you know where the M Bar used to be on Fountain and Vine, 1253 Vine Street.
That's a block from my house.
Go to Doomie's Home Cooking. Tell them I said hi.
They're open to 3 a.m.
Open until 3 a.m.
Okay.
So if you're out of the bars, which I tend to be, then just don't go to Denny's. Don't go to IHOP. Get some vegan junk food. Get some
It's enough to take home and to make you happy. I mean, you can get even
The
the
vegan-
vegan
chili cheese fries.
cheese fries, animal style.
Yeah, animal style without the animal.
They have the best jalapeno poppers.
What's the name of this?
Doomie's.
Home cooking.
Doomies.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, it's right.
Like Doom, like Harbinger of Doom. DOOMIES.
I know exactly where it is. It's right next door to another
Colabera
business,
creamery.
which I won't name because they're not a sponsor. and
Right.
I just have to say the only bar I really go to, other than 5-Star Bar where we have the comedy show,
Right.
is it is the bar at our apartment. We have an apartment bar.
Which I've never been invited to, but
Well, one day, yeah.
Yeah.
Play your cards right, Mark.
yeah. You have a waterbed?
Not yet, but if you're coming over, we might get one.
Oh, if it's the same waterbed from Nightmare 4, I'm there.
And I also got to say, I love you, and please don't hate me. I'm a staunch meat eater, and the closest I ever really get to vegan cuisine is a few years ago. I worked as a delivery driver for Flore on down on Sunset and Silver Lake.
No, but this place is not like the other vegan restaurants. I mean, chicken parmesan, pulled pork. It's fantastic. They got one in Hollywood. They got one in Culver City, one in Toronto, Canada. Trust me, if I slid you some Doomies right now, you would have no idea it was vegan.
I got to try it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna try it out.
All my meat eater friends at the bar, they're like, it's closing time, you want to go to Doomies? I'm like,
Absolutely,
nice.
absolutely.
They have great carrot cake, you can
Nice.
take that home.
Yeah, because you don't want carnivorous carrot cake. Carrot cake would be no. Now, first
I
time,
like my carrot cake topped with hamburger personally,
Right.
but that's just me.
it's huge carrot. It's a really big piece of carrot cake. They got deep fried Oreos, all this stuff. Anyway, I want to get. I've got the camera on John, so I'm going to be like Spielberg and all the other great directors that have directed you now. Now, here's the thing. Now, first off, I want to thank you for coming on
Thank you.
because every interview I've ever seen that you've given, you say you hate interviews. So I appreciate you coming here and being interviewed by me. We'll try and make it as painless as possible.
Right, and I don't say every interview, and I'm aware that I chose to be here. It's just, maybe this is fun.
No, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. Yeah.
Certain other interviews aren't so fun, I guess. That's okay too.
But the reason you give is do you want to maintain your anonymity?
Yeah.
Sort of. You don't want to. I mean, even though your star has risen, especially in the last 5-7 years, you can walk around town. Nobody
much bothers me. I appreciate that you've done the fuzzing of my face for all of this kind of taking out, and also covered my voice. So
Yeah.
I'm an actor. They don't know.
Well, you must have people. This is what I'm getting at. You must have people that like stare at you. They're like, I know that guy.
Oh, I get recognized, I guess, yeah, a fair amount, and then other people, they
They're like just as you
this.
pass, they're like,
Look at
oh
you,
yeah,
look at the
yeah.
phone, look at you, look at the phone.
Right.
Yeah, the phone changed everything, so you can just say your name now, and people can look it up.
Except for you, because
following you around and saying, "Weren't you in
Right.
Godfather 5?" And I was like, "No." wasn't in that one, but let's keep trying. Yeah.
But as far as I know, and see, let me correct me if it's changed. You don't have a smartphone. You don't have a computer. You don't have email.
I have a computer.
Okay.
I have no smartphone. I have running water and electricity.
That's nice.
Indoor plumbing.
That's good. Oh, good.
Just brought that in, and I've got a vehicle, which is good. Runs on gasoline and battery.
Well, speaking of
what else can I tell you?
But
I'm definitely stuck in the 20th century, I would say, somewhat. I'm living in this world as well, but it's nice back there.
that actually brings me to a question I was going to ask you later, but I'll ask it now. Because you're in Lincoln with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Indeed, yeah.
And was he really like, you got to call me President Lincoln?
Yeah. That I'd heard that weeks in advance, and I thought it was great. I'm such a huge fan.
Like, did he use an outhouse? Did he did?
I was told, and I don't want to talk out of school. I don't know if you were told that he had his heating shut off in his house, and we were shooting in the winter in Richmond, Virginia. That's cold. I was told that he didn't sleep much. Lincoln didn't. I was told that he got up at 4 or 5 and chopped wood, rode around on a horse.
Wow.
It didn't seem weird to me at all. I have to say, Mark, it was more. I didn't meet Daniel Day-Lewis during the shoot, but I got to meet Abraham Lincoln, and being a huge fan of Abraham Lincoln since I was a child, it was thrilling to be near him in that way, and you could just talk to him as though he was the president. Now, David Strathairn, wonderful actor who played Mr. Seward, when I had dinner with him one night, I said, "How's it going with Daniel?" And he said, "Well, last week, we hadn't been shooting very long, but last week, at one point, an actor sometimes has really uncomfortable shoes, and if they're not going to be on camera, they might flip into some tennis shoes."
Right.
Which David had done, and Daniel, while they were shooting the scene, kept kind of looking down, and all he said afterwards was, "Interesting choice of footwear." and he went and changed shoes and put them back on for the rest of the thing. But no, there was nothing weird about him or really compulsive about it. It just felt normal. It was really, I admire him so much. So
it's a great performance.
Whatever he wants to do to get into character is fine with me, man.
Yeah.
It was great. I only worked one day with him, but that's really why I did the movie, Mr. Spielberg notwithstanding. But also amazing, of course. But yeah, the real thrill was to get to spend a day with Daniel Day-Lewis. And originally I was asleep through the scene, and talked to Tony Kushner, the amazing writer of the script, playwright, great writer. And
so wait, they hired you to sleep?
Well, it wasn't like that in the script I originally got, and I didn't talk much to him about it. I didn't whinge or complain, but I got to be awake in the scene and actually exchange lines with the president. So that was great.
Right, because I was going to say that's not really your technique. However, I did actually just this week in research I saw your acclaimed Independent Spirit Award-winning performance in The Sessions. Which is a great movie. You saw that, Rodney?
Of course.
It was great, and you, and correct me if I'm wrong. Have you seen The Sessions?
I have not.
So that's another one that I would recommend. Very, very good movie.
I'll watch it this weekend.
Yeah, I can't believe I hadn't seen it before with all the nudity in it. But John plays a poet who has polio, and I think I avoided this because it probably hit too home. Is that this is a guy who really has so many beautiful women around him, but he's physically challenged, and obviously he had polio. Now you put a ball under your back.
Yeah, there's a line in the script where Helen Hunt's character is dictating, speaking about having met with my character Mark O'Brien, and she says the curvature of his spine may make intercourse impossible.
Right.
Wow.
And so you can't really just disregard that as an actor. I mean,
yeah.
There's great clues about how to play your characters. So I devised just a real hard piece of foam about the size of a soccer ball to lay under the side of
right.
Playing. It's a real character, Mark O'Brien.
Mark O'Brien, yeah.
Away by now, but was a poet and an amazing human being. Wrote a really interesting book called How I Became a Human Being. That's a really wonderful one. A lot of clues there as to how to portray him as well. But he,
right.
Yeah, so that just made me lie in a very awkward, uncomfortable position in order to approximate, what what he was.
Now, did I read correctly that your organs were going out of alignment?
Wow, you're quite a researcher.
Something you both have in common.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a chiropractor that I'd been seeing throughout, and he was telling me, my organs were shifting in my body a little bit, but I'm still here. I feel fine.
How,
acre pain, but
I mean, are the organs back to where they're supposed to be?
I don't know. I don't really. Back in the last century, we didn't go to the doctor.
Yeah.
So
You had Helen Hunt on top of you. Is that all? Yeah, that didn't. You're okay with that?
With what?
Helen Hunt was on top of you. That
was fine. I toughed through it.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing now, and I want an honest answer. You were nominated you won the Independent Spirit Award, nominated for the Golden Globe, Screen Actors Guild, Critics' Choice, every award, and you did not get an Oscar nomination.
True.
Were you disappointed?
Here's the funny thing. After Winter's Bone, my, it's going to sound really ungrateful, but my goal as an actor was never to try to win awards or whatever, but you get sucked into that and your life changes. And so at the first Academy Awards, I said to my girlfriend, longtime girlfriend at the time, when it finished, I hope that never happens again. And,
really?
Yeah. I think I'd be better with it now, but I was pretty unprepared for the amount of attention, I guess, that you get in that instance.
But even after 30 years of
and things like that,
of acting, it's validation that.
No, believe me, the greatest thing was to be in that room with a bunch of extraordinary artists, and there were people I admired that I got to meet that night. That was all really great. At the time, I just felt like that's plenty. I just kind of want to live my life, and I kind of got what I asked for.
So when every critic's like he's a lock.
Yeah, that was the hard part as well. Was from January when the sessions aired at Sundance to have every interview begin with, "Are you preparing your speech? Are you ready to go?"
Yeah.
For a year.
Really. Yeah. And then you're like, well, thank goodness that didn't happen.
No, I was bummed, to be honest. Yeah. It's funny how we change, but yeah, I was bummed.
Okay, that's an honest answer. But you did win the Independent Spirit Award. That's not too shabby.
No.
That was 2 of those now.
Yeah, 2. Yes.
Yeah, because you won one for Winter's Bone, and we're gonna get back to that. And my personal favorite movie of yours, Me, You, and Everyone We Know, and other things. But before we get to Rodney, because Rodney's being very patient. When people recognize you on the street, I'm assuming it's mostly for Deadwood and Eastbound and Down, correct?
Well, it depends on the person, but Deadwood has been something people have really not let go for 15 years until now, I guess. But that was people love that show. So wherever I was.
Oh, even now, I've seen some reaction to the movie. Like, come on, let's do this one over. Like, yeah.
I'd like to keep going, but I don't think that'll happen.
And we'll get to Rodney in a second, but it's Deadwood talk. Deadwood fans don't want to hear this. How did I mean, the show ended, I think, prematurely. I think a lot of people wanted it to go. Great cast.
Yeah, it was kind of canceled after the 3rd season unexpectedly, so it didn't have an ending.
Right. So and they kept saying for 10 years, the movie's coming. How did that come about?
Man, I don't know, incantations. There might have been some spells cast. I don't know what happened.
Right.
I think a script finally really came that HBO would get behind. David Milch is an amazing writer, probably one of the best writers I've ever encountered. But
Shakespearean.
He doesn't work fast, and so it took a while for him to get something that he liked and they liked, I think.
Right.
And then we were able to start clearing schedules and go forward.
That's the thing,
25 actors came back, and a lot of the crew was great.
Right. So I think the gripe that I haven't seen the movie yet, but the gripe I hear is that Swearingen doesn't swear enough.
Oh, wow, he probably swears a fair amount.
Yeah, and I don't know how much you swore in the movie, but...
I never really swore a lot on the show. I kind of played more of a
kind shopkeeper,
a bit, he's tough enough.
Right.
The movie's incredible.
I gotta check it out. I definitely looking forward to it. Just having it, because I've been going to the 5-star bar and doing comedy and hanging out with you guys and opening for you guys. This is Rodney. I got Rodney right here.
Hey, Mark.
Now, Rodney, you've been I don't want to discount. You've been a working actor this whole time as well, and you keep coming up with. I mean, you're like a horror legend. Not only are you Nightmare on Elm Street 3, you're a dream warrior.
I am a dream warrior.
When Dokken was streaming about the Dream Warriors, this is who he was talking about. You were in the Dream Master for a little bit,
Long enough.
And you've been on Melrose Place, you've been on Charles in Charge, you've been on all sorts of things. I Spit on Your Grave, the remake. Hannah is very loves that one.
I mean, your character, like, I've watched that several times before I knew it was actually you. We put two and two together. I actually threw some things at the TV. I was cussing at your character. I mean, you did your job. I mean, you brought out anger in me when I was just watching the film. You're fantastic.
I gotta see that again.
Oh yeah. I mean, just.
Have you seen that? I Spit on Your Grave, John?
I have not.
No, see Nightmare first. But
So I Spit on Your Grave.
The remake.
The remake.
Mm-hmm.
When I actually got offered that movie, didn't have to audition, and it was the title of the script I got was Day of the Woman, which was the original title for
the original I Spit on Your Grave.
The original I Spit on Your Grave, and it's really interesting the subject matter of that movie, even. Today, it's held up by women's rights proponents as like a real sort of a real example of early power of women, taking control. And so I got sent the script. I read it. I thought it was really dark, but really incredible. And my neighbor, I went next door and I was saying, I think I'm going to do this movie. It's called Day of the Women. And I described the plot. And he was like, isn't that I Spit on Your Grave? I was like, no, it's called Day of the Woman.
Yeah.
And I went and met with the director, and I still didn't know, and found out that it was a remake. And
apparently they kept the page with the spitting away from you. So
I think it was to sort of keep the remake
right.